Thanks, everyone. So it's Friday. We're in Austin. We're going to talk mobile video. I call that the big three. And yeah, so while my Snap story is playing, I'm going to give you a little bit of background about me. So UPMC Health Plan, we're based out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We are owned by one of the top health systems in the country. And as the health insurance arm of this, we provide health plans to people of all ages, employer groups, and try to engage our 3.2 million members in their health. And video and digital, as you can imagine, is a really big and powerful part of this. Also, some things that inform my mindset: I play in a band, my wife and I organize TEDx events, and I teach digital marketing at Duquesne University. And one thing I tell the students all the time is that this space changes so much, as we all can testify to, but also that means that the one constant for them is going to be learning, and I think it's great that we're all here to do that same thing. So evidence, storytelling, trying new things, these are things that are important to me and that have led me to kind of think about mobile video as this giant intersection of production strategy and placement strategy. And I'm going to walk you through some examples of that. These are just a few examples. Really looking forward to your feedback on this and having a discussion and hearing your point of view, because there's so many great minds in here. But I can just tell you a little bit about what we've been doing. And as you can see from this stock photo, sometimes there's that play bar that I don't like, but sometimes there's not. So if you could tell us when we're buying these ad units what's there, that would be great. But let's keep going, and I'm going to tell you about this first thing we did during the Affordable Care Act open enrollments. In video, there are many new formats available to us right now, and luckily I'm fortunate to sit over a team of amazing digital professionals that we do not just the digital strategy, but we do much of the placement and production in-house. Video, especially for production, we do that in-house. So this particular campaign was during open enrollment for the Affordable Care Act Marketplace, or as one of our page titles said, accidentally, the Adorable Care Act. But we fixed it, and it was an adorable mistake. It's fine. So we ran a test of traditional digital video, which felt weird to type. So I don't know if that's a real term, but it's on there, so it's a real term. Traditional digital video versus 360 video. And as a video team, we were super challenged by this, and I wanted to kind of test this theory of if we were trying to reach affluent millennials and Gen Xers to buy our insurance plans during an open enrollment, is there something about the format of the video that could affect this outcome? So we did a mobile-only test, and we kept the same message strategy, which was to highlight our award-winning customer service. We have a lot of value propositions, such as innovation, such as lowest price plans in Pennsylvania, but for this audience, we wanted to talk about this high-touch customer service we bring to a super complicated area, healthcare. So we came up with a 360 video. We're going to watch that version. It is, now keep in mind that we are watching a mobile video on a giant screen. My good friend Mark in the back, we've been friends for a whole day, is going to navigate us through this video.
UPMC Health Plan, Hannah speaking. How may I help you?
Hi, Sam. It's nice to hear from you.
Sure.
Thanks for holding. I was able to schedule your appointment for Thursday.
Your claims. It looks like you've met your annual deductible for this year already.
Do you have the address?
Yes, that doctor is in our network.
Which means you're fully covered.
You can check your claims on My Health
We offer stress management, weight management, and a nutrition program.
Thank you for contacting us.
Absolutely. I'll connect you with a health coach now.
Sign up now for a health plan that revolves around you.
A health plan that revolves around you. Get it? The medium is the message, right? I invented that. That was a very challenging video to create. We essentially had to, we came up with the idea from sitting in with our healthcare concierge team and hearing how incredibly chaotic it is, but also how incredibly helpful they are. And we tried to have every conversation with those real concierges, by the way, talk about a value proposition. And our thought was just the pure context of being overwhelmed by these conversations can communicate the value proposition that we're surrounding you with service. And on mobile, the way it would interact with you is if you've seen 360 videos, I'm sure many, if not all of you have, it's native functionality on your phone. So as you turn your device, you can, of course, swipe left, right, up, down, any direction you see them talking. You could end up at any point in the conversation, which meant we had to coach each concierge that may not be on camera at that time. They couldn't just like, they could be on camera at any time, so they have to be doing something. Their nonverbals had to be on point. So as the user rotates their phone, they can see different parts of the video. That's a little bit different than just watching a video on your phone static. So what happened? Well, interestingly, we did have some higher completion rates, 30% higher completion rate for this video versus the traditional video. They were both over the 70% average that we were told at the time was what to benchmark it against, but this one was higher than the traditional version. Also, Steve mentioned that video is increasingly helping with lead drivers, and I have to say I've definitely had that experience, not just for this B2C campaign, but even for our B2B campaigns too. So here we saw a 2x in leads for our Affordable Care Act plans. And then also social media shares. It was shared on social media versus not being shared on social media. Did we know that it could be shared on social media as part of this ad placement? No. So next time, that would be great to know in advance. So this is just one test. But I think that it was nice to see that when there's a new shiny object out there, which there is in video a lot, that you can see some measurable results there. Some more things that we're testing in Facebook right now, or just kind of observing in Facebook, is the differences in the way people are consuming video on Facebook particularly. And so I kind of had an evolution of our mindset. So the first part of my mindset was, our videos are amazing. People are definitely going to turn on the audio on our videos because they're our videos. So Facebook, you're welcome. We got you covered. We're going to change that paradigm. Then I thought, well, from reading, and even my own consumption, and from reading the reports on how Facebook video consumption is in real life, we started to think, okay, we'll definitely add subtitles to all of our videos and think about it from that perspective. So we'll make the same video, we'll put it on Facebook, but we will account for the lack of audio when we place it with subtitles, which was a thing to do also. But now our mindset is more about making a specific cut to account for the fact that it's quite likely our audience will watch our video without the sound at all. So we should have something for them if they do opt into the sound, but we should also just plan for it. So just like we always say on my web team and I, when we talk about designing for mobile and using flat design and responsive or all of that good stuff that takes the mobile experience into account. For a mobile Facebook video, this is the version of that, which is planning and designing for no audio. So I have a couple of examples here. One is for a campaign we did called Screening with Meaning, which was we highlighted real members telling their stories of breast cancer treatment and all the way from diagnosis through treatment and recovery, and very powerful stories that helps to move the needle in terms of our membership being aware of their mammogram benefit and also actually getting it. So we can watch that. And then after that, I'm going to show you a video for a recent campaign we did for one of our mobile apps called Anywhere Care. And then we're going to talk about how the placement strategy and the production strategy intersected there too.
This is a story of a battle some might say is the biggest any human being will ever fight. When you think of a battle, you think of soldiers and, of course, the enemy. In my battle, I am the soldier. The bomb that invaded my territory was breast cancer.
Cool, so that was the trailer, and now we'll watch the Anywhere Care video. And we'll talk about the exciting differences. Also, if you'd like to see more of those stories, you can visit screeningwithmeaning.com. It's a website on the internet. So that was a great song. It wasn't pop punk, which I like, but it was a great song. But you could still get the story of that last video just by watching, just by the way we shot it, the way that it was a lot of extreme close-ups, the way that there was text on screen that was really big text. It started as small text, it got bigger. It's kind of like the make the logo bigger thing, but this one actually works. And then, yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt,
No.
right on this.
Yeah.
Do you strive for a visual hook? Since we're fast scrolling, well, one of the arts of Facebook video is how do you just grab their attention for that freeze frame to get them to watch the...
Yes, great question, Steve. The question was about a visual hook, and what we've done for that is essentially something face related. So a close-up of a face usually helps on Facebook, but also things that are fast moving and not starting, we don't usually start with a lot of text, but we kind of go into that. So those are a couple of things. But we haven't, I think that would be a great thing to test of the same video concepts. So we place these, our Facebook and search and Twitter and LinkedIn, we place those all in-house. And like I said, we make those videos in-house. So we have that luxury of thinking through who exactly is watching, how they're getting to it, and then how, we almost have this extra motivation, knowing that on the other side of the wall, the social team from the video team, they want to help each other out. They want to make sure that these placements are getting the best action, the video is getting the most love, and working for our campaign the best. So those are just a couple of examples. But I do have some statistics to share. So we went from the subtitles with the Screening with Meaning story, which is very powerful. We use the extreme close-ups on the faces of the women involved there to kind of just communicate this is a very emotional story. Even if you just scroll past it, you know that there's something powerful happening. Versus also having text on screen and this more fast-moving cut for the Anywhere Care video. And we did see a higher completion rate there. So I think we need to do a lot more to certify whether or not, and it would be great to do it in the same campaign if this is a thing, but I just wanted to share with you what we're tracking, what we're looking against as some of our video KPIs on mobile, and that we're really taking an approach that a mobile video strategy is separate from a digital video strategy. And in fact, the primary driver of most of my mobile spend is in mobile video. But maybe that's just me. So being in a band, I like to talk about guitars. Does anyone here play guitar? Okay. Media post side projects. Maybe we could do it. Yeah, afternoon activity. I can't wait. Well, I like to say that digital media is like playing guitar because when you strike the right notes with purpose, you make something beautiful and you amplify your message. But also, if you don't pay attention to all of it, as we all know, bad things can happen. And like when you break a guitar string, all of your other strings go out of tune. So too is that for digital. And I wanted to bring up the fact that my view of digital mobile video is really as part of this bigger picture of social media, what we're doing on search, how we're optimizing our landing pages, how they're going from perhaps a teaser video to a longer form video and what that means and how we do video SEO. And I wanted to share with you some other statistics that I thought maybe you might be interested in. And so this is from our open enrollment campaign. And one of the insights that we found from this year was a greater time lag, 61 to 90 days. There's a large growth in folks who were seeing our content online during the warming period of open enrollment. This is before the marketplace is open. So that's a pretty big shift. We're seeing a growth in the need for this longer conversation. We have a need for a longer conversation. The second thing we noticed was that there's an increase in conversion being a lead after 12 plus touches. That's a lot of content. That's a lot of display, search, video that we need to really think about how much we're producing and how it works together and how to make it really, really compelling. So those are some, has anyone else seen things like this where the need for a longer conversation, the need for more touch points? Okay, I see some nods. Okay, cool, that's great. Well, we all have to go. We have to go create some content right now. I also thought this was interesting, so I wanted to talk a little bit about attribution. A lot of folks yesterday talked about attribution too. I know it's something we're all trying to solve for. I just wanted to share one way that we're doing it via DoubleClick is to just kind of look at it from a last click versus first exposure model, which I'm sure many of these platforms here can help us with. But we do see that 23% of the first click or last click search attribution leads do actually come from other sources like rich media and display, more from rich media. So we're seeing a greater value year over year in our rich media placements. So this does include streaming audio, but it's mostly video. So video is becoming a very strong last click and first exposure lead driver. Still testing and learning there, at least from my own perspective, from our own campaigns to see is this trend going to continue, but we are seeing the up and to the right progress there. So here's what we've learned so far. I'm going to boil this down to you in checklists. I love a checklist. So first, the mobile video production checklist. This is a photo of one of our camera rigs in the lobby of our beautiful building in downtown Pittsburgh. Come visit us. But you'll see here that the preview screen, the monitor, is the size of a mobile phone. And so if you guys have been on video shoots or if your creative teams go on video shoots, there's usually like giant LED screens, and so you can look at every detail, which is important. You know, is there a flyaway? Is there like someone in the background with a Nike logo and you're not Nike? So that's important. But for when we know in advance that we're designing for mobile, creating stories for mobile, this is really how we should preview it. And we're doing this on web. So, you know, when we're testing our web pages, we have all of our top devices we can go to. We can look at it on Pixel. We can look at it on Android, on an older iPhone, like those kind of things, what people are using. So we should be doing the same thing for video. And this is one way to do it in the production space. Storyboarding by channel is also important. So storyboarding it for Facebook, how are you going to tell that story without audio? Storyboarding for a new concept, a new video format like vertical. You know, there's probably not a template out there. Like, you could make the first template. We made our own 360 video template, and I think the video team was really excited to be like maybe some of the first people to figure that out, and essentially realized they had to have 6 storyboards for the whole, to go around the whole 360 there. So that's another part of the checklist. And then consider telling the story across a multiple video series set, which I think really intersects with the mobile video placement checklists. And one thing I would talk about here is I think that it's useful to leverage the native functionality of mobile. So these are things like tilting, like swiping, like other functionality like add to calendar, things that your mobile device can do that a desktop doesn't, and especially that the mobile consumer is used to doing. A lot of these ad formats, as you all know, can leverage this, but you have to make the content that takes advantage of it. If you just put your TV on mobile, you're probably not going to do that, but it may also work. So that's one part of the checklist, is leveraging native functionality of mobile. The other would be to plan for those increased exposures we talked about. So if you know that you are going to have a longer conversation, they're going to have to see over 10 pieces of content, then you have to plan for a longer conversation and make more stuff and make it all really good, which is a challenge for us, but also, it keeps the lights on. So I think that those are some really exciting, tangible takeaways, and just how our mindset is at UPMC Health Plan, and what the team and I are working on to drive mobile video placement and production forward, and to think about it in a really, really distinct way as its own animal that can really drive results.
Chris, thanks very much. That was great.
Thank you.
Questions? I got loads, but I'd rather have you do it.
Oh, I got one here. Hang on, Steve. I got you.
Megan, VSA Partners. I actually have 2 questions, if that's allowed. Awesome.
That's preferred.
With the production in-house, I was curious about your lead time from creation to market activation.
6 to 8 weeks, or it's been much lower than that before. So we've got things turned around, produced in 1 to 2 weeks.
Interesting, okay. And then you had the slide with the last click versus first exposure attribution model.
Mm-hmm.
Did you take into consideration the sequence between display, search, and the rich media? Did that play a role?
So we do look at that and see, that 2 searches or 1 display exposure versus 2 searches on Bing. We do look at that also, but that particular slide was just an aggregate. It wasn't sequence-based. But that'll be a great point to get to be able to kind of layer that over top. Yeah.
What % of your ad buy is spent on total just video and mobile video versus display or other units? And how has that increased over year to year, let's say the past 2 years or 3 years?
Well, I can say this, for our B2B campaigns, mobile video has grown exponentially in terms of the piece of the budget pie. And then for mobile spend in terms of the B2C campaigns, almost all of my mobile display is video, actually. So it's a really high percentage of that. In terms of the overall picture, it really varies by line of business. Yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit more about the media plan itself, about where you're buying, mm-hmm. on and off of Facebook? How much of this is going to Facebook? Are you exploring other platforms and distribution? And also the targeting that you're using for this. And if you've optimized along the way and found that, and we're surprised in some way by response, and as you started understanding that you were getting leads from this, if that changed the way you were optimizing.
Yeah, so we've worked with the programmatic agency that we work with to optimize in terms of the view-through conversion instead of the last click. So that's one thing that we've worked on. We've also tried to overlay seasonality and kind of have we're getting more toward an always-on for Facebook, and of course brand search is always on. But for video, it's starting to seem like maybe that's something we want to consider, and then there are times where we turn that up. So we switch our KPIs from pure awareness for like a brand lift study versus awareness of a product and then a lead conversion. And then in terms of the overall media plan, it really depends where our audience is. So we have, one of our plans is for lower income folks, so that's really pretty much all mobile. And that is mobile search, that is a lot of social media, especially Facebook, and more Twitter than we have for our B2B clients or otherwise. We explore new things. Like we did a Facebook Messenger bot this year, so we're trying to work on that. We're working on the on-the-go moments on mobile, so things like Waze, things like searches, healthcare near me, and a lot of retargeting. We're trying to get better at our retargeting. That's why I loved the Overstock presentation yesterday of building the own retargeting, because we have a lot of member data, and we know when people log into our apps or they log into our portals, we can reach them again. And how do we leverage what we know about them in a non-creepy way? And building enough scale though, because many of our products are Pennsylvania left or all Pennsylvania, so sometimes a lot of those really, really cool retargeting you need a bigger pool for.
Are you, since you know that you have to have this longer conversation and multiple exposures, how does that change the creative strategy? I know you need more content, but does it change the nature of the content? Are you thinking about sequencing at all? Does it change the way you think about this broad narrative that you know it's going to have to be told in maybe 10 pieces before you actually get a response?
Yes, 100%, yes. So I think sequencing is something that we should be doing more of, and we're working on a set of that now for mobile video for a B2B client, and kind of telling different chapters of the same story, thinking about it in terms of chapters, and thinking about, yes, we may have the same 3 value propositions, but of course there are many different ways to communicate that. So trying it from a text-only approach versus an on-camera approach, maybe some testimonials. So there's a lot of different, it gives you a lot of creative freedom, I think, but also a lot of creative responsibility. But sequencing, I'm glad you asked that question, because I think that could be powerful and also
Do you have enough control of the data and enough granularity and visibility into those who have seen the ad so that you actually could do literal sequencing where you really could tell what someone has seen before?
I think that remains to be seen. Working with our partner programmatic agency, that seems to be kind of one of the things that is something to be solved for still. But I think from a web perspective that we can definitely do that. We could certainly at least, I feel like we could get the first 2 or 3 in the sequence efficiently, but we're trying to figure out how to do more than that because we know we need more.
Chris, thank you.